of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are so.
Well, it's about time the Braves took a big bite out of the Big Apple. They are in New York, where they'll face their former teammate Kelly Johnson in Game 1 of a big series here at Citi Field. Matt Harvey is on the mound for the Mets, who've won 5 of 6 against the Braves head-to-head so far this season. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe, welcome back to the ballpark. Braves are on a bit of a roll. They just finished up a series with the Reds, scored a ton of runs, had a bunch of hits, won the last 2 games, so they come to town with a lot of confidence. And a former Met goes to the mound for Atlanta today. John Gant, with that Vulcan changeup, gets the ball in Game 1.
Yeah, he was a low draft pick for the Mets about 4 years ago, and he'll make his return to Citi Field in a different uniform, so he's got to be excited about this. And while those numbers may not stick out big time against the Cubs, he pitched real well after a slow start. He walked a couple of guys in the first inning. That led to a run. After that, he really settled in.
His mound opponent is Matt Harvey. They call him the Dark Knight. There have been some dark times for Matt Harvey, but not lately. Looks like Matt Harvey's back on a big-time roll.
He got off to a horrible start this year, and everybody was talking about how he had too much going on away from the field, that his arm was tired, he wasn't pitching well. Well, all of a sudden, he's got his act together, and he is pitching great baseball. His first 10 starts of the year, a 6 ERA. His last 3, a 1.27 average against him, and an 0.90 ERA. He's back on track. He's going to be tough tonight.
But he's got to deal with a red-hot Freddie Freeman, who had a wonderful series against the Cincinnati Reds, including a game in which he hit for the cycle. Freeman's been fantastic. When we come back to Citi Field in New York, we'll talk about Freddie Freeman's hot streak as the Braves and Mets meet tonight in Game 1 in New York.
Baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Welcome back to a beautiful day here in New York for Game 1 of the Mets versus the Braves. And you know, I don't think there's there's many people more excited than me to be back here at Citi Field, but if anybody is, it's Mr. Cycle, Freddie Freeman. He has just been phenomenal, especially in the last 4 games, and he's the subject of our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot. In those last 4 games, Freddie's 10 for 16 with a 600 on-base percentage with 3 home runs, but at Citi Field in 49 games, Freddie's hitting .297 with 34 RBI and 7 home runs. And I asked him earlier, when you're on a hot streak like you're on right now, and you're playing in a field where you've had a lot of success in the past, how does that affect your confidence? And he told me, you know, you try not to look in and take too much into those numbers, but you're aware of it, and it does definitely give you a boost. And I know he's hoping that boost continues and his hot streak continues along with the rest of his team as they take on Matt Harvey and the New York Mets in Game 1 of a 3-game series with John Gant on the mound. We have first pitch and starting lineups with Chip and Joe coming up right after the break.
Delta Airlines, your local Ford dealer, the Home Depot, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Well, today's the kind of day that even a Georgia resident can get into a New York state of mind. It's been an absolutely gorgeous day here in Gotham. Temperature trickling down to the low 70s as the Braves and Mets get set for our first game of the series. As the Braves begin play tonight, we open our broadcast with heavy hearts. Our pal Phil Falco, the fine strength and conditioning coordinator for the Braves, lost his father, Phil Falco Sr., today. And Phil, all of us wanted to pass along our condolences and sympathies. We're thinking of you tonight, and our thoughts and prayers are with you and your entire family.
They are indeed, and we send you our best, Phil.
So there's Matt Harvey. He's on the hill for the Mets. Matt Harvey seems to have figured a few things out for this New York ball club. He's on quite a roll over his last 3 outings. The man they call the Dark Knight is going for his 5th win this season.
Dark Knight wearing some white shoes, decked out, man. 13 starts. His ERA and record are very poor for him because of those first 10 starts of the year, but lately he has been on a roll. No home runs allowed in any of his last 3 starts. His last 2 starts, just 3 walks and 17 strikeouts in 20 innings, and a 127 average against him, as we showed you a moment ago. He's 27 years old, 6'4", 220, out of Mystic, Connecticut, and was a #1 pick for the Mets in 2010 out of North Carolina. He's made 2 starts against the Braves this year already. He won 1 and he lost 1.
Here's a look at the Mets defensive lineup. They're happy to have Michael Conforto back. He's had some wrist problems. Yoenis Cespedes has had some hip issues. And Curtis Granderson, the man with a bazillion leadoff homers, is their right fielder. Former Brave Kelly Johnson is third base. Neil Walker is at second. James Loney, that's a new face for this Mets ball club. He's the first baseman with Lucas Duda hurt. And Kevin Plawecki is the man behind the plate. Braves have to be coming to town on an offensive high. They scored 43 hits against the Reds in that series, the most hits in a series since they had 43 in New York against the Mets in June of 2014. And hopefully that offensive production with this starting nine will continue for Brian Snitker as we start a two-city, five-game road trip.
It can be real contagious, as we've always said, and it seemed to do that. It seemed to run rampant through the Braves lineup against the Reds. Let's hope it continues.
So Malik Smith is set to lead off for the Braves again. Malik's hitting .247 for the year, 3 homers and 21 runs batted in.
Just kind of tipped his cap to Kelly Johnson at third base, who's in to try to take a bunt away from him.
And that bunt is toward Loney at first, and he applied the tag to Malik Smith, who is going to be ruled out of the baseline by the first base umpire Marty Foster. So 1 pitch, 1 out.
Good idea. Just a little bit wider from the baseline, he would have been in business. No way Loney could have chased him out of the baseline.
That's one thing about James Loney. He is a terrific defensive first baseman. And Brian Snitker's out for a word with Mike Winters as to just exactly what the call was. And Foster did gesture very, very clearly that Smith was out of the running lane to first base. So here's Ender Inciarte, the Braves center fielder tonight. He's batting .227. No homers, 6 runs batted in. And a strike from Harvey. Schedule has been very odd this year for the Braves. They've seen the Mets in very close bunches. Atlanta first saw New York April 22nd, April 23rd, and April 24th, and then May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And now Atlanta will see them 7 times in the next 9 games. And then not again until well after the All-Star break.
That's not a good grouping against the Mets because of their pitching staff. Their starters are so good, you might see those guys twice. It's tough duty.
First at bat by Inciarte against New York. Remember, he was on the DL with a hamstring problem in the early weeks of the season. And he lines out to center, and that's the second out. So an easy play for Yoenis Cespedes, and now red-hot Freddie Freeman's coming up. Freddie's 10 for his last 18 with 3 home runs. And he drives this one deep toward left, but that one's going to be playable for Conforto. And Matt Harvey has a very easy inning, just 6 pitches. Former Met farmhand John Gant goes to work next. Former Met takes them out in the series opener against Matt Harvey here before a packed house at Citi Field.
23 years old, 6'3", 200-pounder, born in Savannah, a 21st round draft pick in 2011 by the Mets. His starting line there against the Cubs, 4 1/3 innings, he walked 4 guys. That was probably the biggest issue coming into this start. That leads us to our 4 keys to pitching success tonight. He didn't have his highly touted Vulcan changeup working that day, but he had an excellent curveball. So today, hopefully, he's got a better change to work in with his curveball and fastball. And the early jitters, those 2 walks in the first inning, cost him a run. After that, he settled in, pitched real well. Try to avoid those jitters tonight.
Especially against a Mets lineup that hits a ton of home runs. The Mets are second in the National League with 88 home runs this year. Curtis Granderson, their leadoff man, has 13, including 6 leadoff home runs for Terry Collins this year. It's a different looking lineup without Duda and without Wright, but it's still a very potent one with Cespedes in the middle of things for New York. Mets are 36-29 on the year. They're 5 games behind Washington in the East. And John Gant's first pitch is taken low. Ball 1 to Curtis Granderson. Run prevention in the early innings is critically important for the Braves. That one caught a corner. The Braves have had 41 games this year where the other team has scored first. The Braves have won 8 of those games. Pitch in a good spot. Granderson didn't get it.
Good life on his fastball here to the first batter.
That one's ripped toward the right center field gap, and that'll roll to the wall. Granderson is on his way to second. The ball hangs at the base of the fence, but he'll stay at second with a leadoff double. "11 two-base hits for Curtis Granderson, and the Mets are in business at the bottom of the first inning.
Freddie Freeman was following him to second base. That was another fastball. Freddie might have said, yeah, well, you didn't hit one out. You didn't hit a leadoff homer.
So Granderson at second for Asdrubal Cabrera, the shortstop. He's been a tough out for the Braves. He's got an 8-game hitting streak against Atlanta. During that span, he's got 13 hits. And that's taken low. 1 ball, no strikes.
He had a good series against the Braves in Atlanta, where they swept the Braves.
And that moved him off the plate. 2 balls, no strikes. Mets have won 5 of their last 8 ball games. They just took 2 out of 3 from the Pirates. And the Royals will follow us to town for a 2-game series early next week.
Big crowd on hand tonight.
And when the Mets get rolling, this place gets real loud. And on a beautiful night like this, what a treat for the fans too. 73 degrees at first pitch. Just a few puffy clouds off in the distance beyond the center field fence. A shot to the right side. Big league at bat by Cabrera. Granderson to third with 1 out. Chase Peterson handled that cleanly, and here's Yoenis Cespedes. There are 3 major league hitters who lead their respective clubs in the Triple Crown categories: average, home runs, and RBIs. Cespedes is one of them. Eric Hosmer and Corey Seager are the other 2.
And he's been on a roll. His last 8 games, he's up around 400.
He's the key man in the inning with Granderson at third, and a first pitch strike. It's 0-1. Granderson led off with a double, took third on a ground out to second. And now Cespedes, the third place hitter, awaits in a 1. And Gant got ahead of him, 0-2 now.
Well, the Mets re-signed him when he was a free agent last winter. They brought Kelly Johnson back on your eBay, the only guy that's not back from the old gang that they got together to help get them into the postseason last year and win the National League East.
0-2 your count. That's down the right field line. Long run Markakis, and Nick won't get there. We'll do it again. 0-2 for Cespedes. It's been a roller coaster ride for Cespedes over the last 3 weeks. He's hot now. 12 hits in his last 8 games, but was in a 3-for-35 slide in the 11 games before this recent hot spell. And a bouncing ball to third. Darno had to play it back, and Cespedes with a ground out to third brings home Granderson for the first run of the game. Gant got the ground ball, but it had an extra hop.
Yeah, it would have been an in-between hop for Chase, trying to charge it, maybe cut the run off. But he definitely had designs on doing that if he gets a better one. So we got the out, the run scores.
42nd RBI for Cespedes, 1-0 New York. And here's Neil Walker. And he takes high. Walker's been out with some back problems. I mean, you can name just about every Met on this roster, it seems, and they've had some kind of a physical problem here in the last 2-3 weeks.
Pretty good pitch there.
That one was in a good spot. 2 balls and a strike. Fly ball hammered toward left center. Inciarte slowing now, and Ender hauls it in, and that retires the side. Granderson gets a leadoff double. The Mets move him over and get him in on a ground out. It's 1-0 New York as we head to the second, where Nick Markakis will go to work. run for the Mets. And hopefully we'll see a bunch of home runs tonight from the Atlanta Braves. We're participating in the Home Run Challenge benefiting prostate cancer research. So far, after 4 days this week, $1,290,000 has been raised. And you can make a pledge by going to homerunchallenege.org. Markakis, Peterson, and Chase Darno coming up. And a shot towards second. Walker, tricky hop from the outfield grass, threw a strike to first.
And Nick hit that right on the nose. Just couldn't get it by Walker. Markakis has hit in 3 straight.
4 outs on 7 pitches for Matt Harvey as Jace Peterson comes in with a 6-game hitting streak of his own. His average bumped up now to .254 for the year, and he's knocked in 7 runs. Nothing wrong with Harvey's velocity so far, 94 miles an hour. Some of the published reports that we have seen said his velocity is up a mile, maybe 2 miles an hour over where it was when he was struggling so badly.
Right.
And the Mets did work long and hard with Harvey on some mechanical issues, which they feel has got him back on track.
Just here in the first few batters, it seems like he's simplified some of his mechanics. There's no wasted motion, and he's driving right to the plate. Maybe it's the white shoes. I don't know.
Well, it is the time of year when you can go out there with white bucks, right?
Mm-hmm. Not even Easter.
First deep count for Harvey. Jace Peterson now a 3-2 pitch. And he got him looking. That pitch backed up. First strikeout for Harvey. And 2 are out for the Braves.
Good pitch. Came back.
Chase Darno has the start at third base today. Adonis Garcia, you might recall, injured his ankle in the game yesterday at home. It's not considered a serious injury. He's a day-to-day injury situation. Might see him in New York before the series ends. So Darno gets a chance to play. And the count to him, 1 ball, 1 strike.
The word is his brother may be off the disabled list and ready to play by the time the Mets come to Atlanta next week.
His brother is Mets catcher Travis Darno, who's got a bum shoulder that he's trying to get back into shape. As the 2-1 pitch is hammered toward left. Conforto a long run. He's going to play that one on a roll. That's off the fence, and Chase Darno continues his hot hitting, and he side saddles into second with the first hit of the night for the Braves, a 2-out double.
Really put a good swing on this. Got the barrel out there on that high fastball, and he needed that. He was 3 for his last 22s, I think you said, Chip, and that was solid.
Well, the Mets cashed in a double. Let's see if the Braves can do the same with A.J. Pierzynski up there. And A.J. has worn out Matt Harvey. So this is a favorable matchup for the Braves. A.J.'s 5 for 6 against the Mets right-hander. Pulled a string on him, and A.J. was out in front. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Probably aren't too many guys that can lay claim to a 5-for-6 start against Matt Harvey in their career.
Two nasty pitches back to back from Harvey.
Yeah, he backed off a little bit there. He can throw his slider as high as 88 to 90. 4-pitch guy. At his best, his fastball in the mid to upper 90s.
And he just struck out AJ with a 95-mile-an-hour heater. Chase Darno has the first Atlanta hit, but he's left in scoring position. 2 strikeouts for Matt Harvey, who enjoys a 1-0 lead heading to the home second. By taking the kids to Turner Field for free. The Braves and Chick-fil-A are now offering 2 free tickets to any remaining home game for all members of the Braves Kids Club. For more information, go to braves.com/kids. And there are always a lot of Braves fans when we head to New York. We're seeing John Gant pitch against Matt Harvey tonight. It's 1-0 New York heading to the second inning.
Well, you know the Mets are glad to have this guy back in their lineup. His numbers have not been real good, but a lot of that had to do with some problems with his wrist. Got a cortisone shot, back in the lineup, went 2 for 4 in his last game.
There had to be something wrong with Conforto because he had an awful 17-game stretch at the plate working for New York. This guy's too good a hitter to go 7 for 57 at any time. But that's what was happening to Michael Conforto. Came back to the lineup Thursday against the Pirates. And that cortisone must have worked. He went 2 for 4 and hit a homer. And his first multi-hit game since May 20th.
As hard up as they are for offense, they got to have him at his best. Nothing wrong at the beginning of the year for sure. And that, of course, is when the Mets and the Braves played. So Atlanta took a lot of the brunt of that.
One ball, 2 strikes.
Good to see my friend Terry Collins in the dugout again too, after an episode in Milwaukee where he had to go to the hospital, but is all good, cleared and ready to go.
Conforto had a good cut there, but fouled it back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You know, the way we're seeing the Mets now with all the injuries and at times their lack of offense kind of reminds me of the way the Mets played up until the trade deadline last year. Again, they had to win with overwhelming starting pitching. And the Mets players, the Mets fans were really fretting last year because they had so many good pitching performances go to waste in games that they lost 3-2 or 2-1 or 1-0. And then, of course, they went out at the deadline and totally reworked their roster.
And got some instant offense from Yoenis Cespedes.
But whether or not the Mets have any more financial flexibility to go get anyone remains to be seen. They do have a big hole on their roster with David Wright undergoing neck surgery. He may be gone for the rest of this season. They don't know that quite yet. And the surgery for Wright was a discectomy and fusion surgery in his neck, along with the spinal stenosis problem that he's had for the last couple of years. Full count coming from John Gant, and he struck out Conforto. Nice pitch, good result to start the second. 1 man down.
There's his change up and a good one. Got some late movement on it. That ought to give him some confidence because it really wasn't a useful pitch for him in his start against the Cubs.
So here's Kelly Johnson. And the Braves ought to know the scouting report on Kelly Johnson. They didn't throw him a fastball with the first pitch. Kelly's off to a good start back in the Mets uniform. This one's hit a mile high toward left and playable from Alex Smith. And he gets there a step or 2 shy of the track. 2 outs. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Freddie tried to give him a hip check as he made his way back to the dugout. 2 down. So Kelly, one of 2 new faces for this New York club, hitting back-to-back in the lineup. James Loney's the other one. Loney was acquired from the Padres in a cash transaction. He was playing in the minor leagues, so those are his major league numbers this year. All of that work with New York. And Loney's home run came against the Marlins. It was his first since 2015. And he became the second Met in franchise history whose first Met homer was also his 100th big league homer. And a very familiar name was the other man to do that. It was Jimmy Pearsall.
I'll be darned.
Who hit his 100th career homer and then ran around the bases backwards. Popped up. Darno gives chase. A lot of foul ground here near the tarp. He can't make the play. Alex Smith didn't get there. And a swing on the house for Loney.
Well, it's got to be caught, boys. With the shift on for Loney, Darno had a pretty good angle in which to go after it. He misjudged it. And then started trying to give ground, and I don't know, either the fans distracted him or thought that, heard footsteps and thought it was Malix. That ball should have been caught.
No error on the play. 1-2 pitch. Now it's a full count.
Throughout his career, James Loney's been a good contact hitter, high average guy, not too many home runs.
Wide, and Freeman with a leaping grab made the catch behind the first base bag. No damage done on the pop-up that wasn't caught. Loney lines out, and we're off to the third with the Mets in front. 1-0 in game one. With their pitching, we'll show you what he's talking about on the Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard.
ERA second, starters ERA second, bullpen has been very good, don't give up any long balls, and lately they've been good in their control. They've gone now, their starters, 21 straight innings without a walk.
Harvey's given up one hit. He has struck out a pair, and now he faces Eric Ibar leading off the third for the Braves. Looks like Matt Harvey's mixing his pitches a little more effectively in the early innings instead of just trying to throw the ball right through the catcher. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Ibar.
Well, that was one of the knocks on him early in the year was that people thought he had the mindset that he could just walk out, throw his glove out there and win. That he could overpower people, just keep throwing the fastball by people, and he learned that that is not a way to succeed in the major leagues.
Eric had a nice series against the Reds. He was 4 for 9, including 3 hits on Wednesday. 3 RBIs in that game, too. And foul to the right side. Ibar at 199 for the year. And Harvey lost him. That takes care of that base on ball streak. Yeah. And now Gant will try to bunt Ibar into scoring position and help the Braves try to even up the score here in the third inning.
Eric able to check his swing on that 57-footer.
Gant laid it down. Loney looks to second, will only have one play. Perfect sacrifice.
Good job. He only got one at bat in that start against the Cubs. And out of the bullpen, you don't get any at bat, so that was really well done.
John will get a glad hand from his mates, and he should. Alex Smith tried to bunt his first time up and rolled it to James Loney and was ruled out of the baseline. Alex has done an excellent job all year long, hitting with runners at second and third base this year. He's already up to 21 RBIs. Most of that work came hitting ninth. He's a .366 hitter with Risp. And now he's got to dig out of a 2-strike hole.
I really like the fact that he tried to drag bunt his first time up. He doesn't usually go to the right side. He tries to bunt to third.
Check swing. Harvey will flip to first in time. And the runner's at third with 2 men out.
Didn't mean to. And bad luck for him that A, made contact, B, it went right back to the pitcher. If it kind of goes to the right side past the mound, he's got a base hit. Everybody having some fun with Kelly Johnson tonight.
Runner at third, 2 outs. 1-0 Mets. Ender Inciarte the batter. And popped up straight back our way and out of reach. Inciarte 1 for 4 against Harvey in his career. And lined out to center in the first inning. .94, that down and away strike is awfully tough to hit. Harvey hit Plawecki's glove perfectly. Now the big crowd wants to see him finish off Ender. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Got to respect the fastball and the fact that he throws hard. And you got to cover that outside part. That's where you're set up.
Swing and a drive rocketed toward right center field. Granderson on the run, won't get there. That's high off the fence. 1 run is in. Inciarte to second, and the game is tied on a 2-out double by Ender Inciarte.
Target was away. Pitch was up and had a lot of the plate. And we've seen Ender do this before. He can tomahawk some high fastballs. Clutch 2-out hit there.
So the Braves cash in a leadoff walk. And now Freddie Freeman the batter. Freddie flying out to left. And as hot as he is, right guy at the right time for the Braves. 16 lifetime homers, 70 lifetime RBIs for Freeman against New York pitching. And a .295 average. Freddie 7 hits in his last 12 at bats. And a good cut there. That's launched toward the press box. 2-2.
It's even for the best of hitters, the confidence level when you've got a couple of good games under your belt, all of a sudden you're not in a hurry to get out there. You're not jumping at the baseball. He's staying back better. He's waiting better. He's not drifting forward on his front foot as much.
Line toward left center field. That's going to put the Braves in front. Inciarte scores. Freeman gallops into second. Back-to-back doubles with 2 outs. And the Braves have jumped on Matt Harvey with a 2-run third.
Hotter than a dancing bobcat. Fastball tailing back to the middle part of the plate. And look how still he was waiting for that pitch. And more we're seeing him go to left center.
Nick Markakis will try to add to the Braves lead. And a slow roller hit towards second. And the throw to first is in time. A leadoff walk and back-to-back 2-base hits with 2 outs gives the Braves a 2-1 lead in the middle of the third. Inning, time for a look at the mini Let's Motor player profile tonight.
And that has to do with Ender Inciarte's last 11 games, a .310 average, on base a lot, scoring a lot of runs, but also a lot of extra base hits, including his double tonight. And all of this is current after his RBI hit in the top of the inning.
Bit of a delay for Freddie Freeman as he took his position at first base. There's still a little bit of sunshine that's peeking through down by the first base coaching box. So Chase Darno with a helping hand, and Freeman will get set to go to work here.
Much like what happens at Turner Field early in the ball game. And it was really mostly when he's standing at the bag at first base if he's got to hold a runner on.
On strike 2, Kevin Plawecki, the Mets catcher, who's hitting .202 for the year.
Perfect time for a shutdown inning. He's got the lead with John Gant. He's got the 8-9-1 hitters up there. And he had a very good hook against Chicago. There it is again.
Mets were hoping Plawecki would provide him a little offensive pop with d'Arnaud out with the shoulder problems. That hasn't happened. He has just 3 hits in his last 22 at bats at home. One ball, 2 strikes. Here comes the Vulcan. And it just missed. And he just lost Plawecki with a leadoff walk.
That's a bad walk. Ahead in the count. The guy hitting 2-0-2. You got the pitcher coming up next who can bunt him over. It's the bad time for a walk.
So Harvey is up. He's 2 for 17 at the plate. He's thinking about a bunt. He's got 2 sacrifices this year. He's trying to give you an out.
Tim Tuffle is the third base coach.
And Harvey does get the bunt down. Gant will make the play to first. Successful sacrifice for Matt Harvey. And back to the top we go, and Curtis Granderson. As good as Curtis has been getting the game going with a long ball in his major league career, this is an area where he's really struggled, and that's driving in runs with men at second and third base. Granderson has 13 homers, but only 21 RBIs.
It's hard to believe. A 119 mark for him.
Braves have a shift on. 3 defenders on the right side of the infield. Cano, the lone man, standing near the third base bag with Plawecki at second and 1 out.
When you have an average that low, you're aware of it as a hitter. He knows. He's been around a long time.
Gant threw it right by his best fastball. That one at 93. Ooh, just missed.
Good try on that one. Put him away and not just waste a pitch, but try to run that fastball in there, a 2-seamer. AJ did his part, just didn't get the call.
One ball, 2 strikes. And Granderson didn't get that. A swing and a miss. So his troubles continue with runners in scoring position. John Gant's second strikeout. Now his Dribble Cabrera's coming up.
Got him with the big hook right over the top. And look where he catches it. AJ caught it just above the dirt, right behind the plate. That curveball is a dandy.
So Cabrera, the batter, he got Granderson to third with a ground out to second his first time up. Another ground out by the Mets. Yoenis Cespedes brought home their lone run. Fouled straight back.
He's been 0-2 on a lot of guys this inning, including getting ahead of Plawecki before he walked him.
He's mixing his pitches really well. Leadoff walk for Plawecki. He's at second. Now there are 2 outs. Popped him up. Inciarte is there, and John Gant works around that leadoff walk. He's pitching great. We go to the 4th inning. Braves lead game 1, 2-1.
Team spring training with Delta Airlines and your Atlanta Braves. Visit Braves.com/Delta Dugout for details.
Well, so far so good for Atlanta. They lead 2-1 over the Mets through 3 innings of play. John Gant's pitching a terrific game. He's allowed 1 New York hit. Back-to-back 2-out doubles by the Braves in the 3rd off Matt Harvey. Turned around a 1-0 New York game. Here in the 4th, Jace Peterson, Jace Darno, and A.J. Brzezinski are coming up. That ball's whacked toward the gap in left center. That's curling away from Cespedes. That's high off the fence. And Jace Peterson has a leadoff double.
Man, he just missed hitting that out of here.
So he's a new man since coming back from Gwinnett. Jace now with a 7-game hitting streak.
That pitch was up and out away from him, and he hit it that way. Didn't try to pull it. He has been a new guy.
Braves have 4 hits tonight. All of them are doubles. New set of signs from Plawecki as Darno stands in. He's the man that picked up the first Braves hit.
Chase can get him over. Give AJ a chance to get him in.
And a strike. Matt Harvey had given up 2 runs in his previous 20 innings before this game against the Braves. Touched for 2 runs so far. And a line drive back to the mound. Diving back safely was Jace Peterson. Good play by Harvey. Good base running by Jace. And there's the first out.
Something a little off speed that caused Jace to hesitate just a little bit on that swing when he went after it.
AJ struck out in the Braves' second. And a ground ball that's through the right side for a base hit. Here comes Jace around third. He's going to score without a play. And AJ Pierzynski has added to the Braves' lead. It's 3-1.
AJ needed that. He was 1 for his last 16, including an 0 for 7. So he was tickled to get that. Gets a wink from Marty Foster, first base umpire. What a difference it makes when you get some hits with runners in scoring position, huh?
Funny how that works, right? Braves had a bunch of them against the Reds. As Ibar drives one toward Conforto in left. And there is the second out. I think I made that point in our opening comments. The confidence. We know the challenge that the Braves hitters have facing them with this New York Mets series, but there's a different feel about the ball club coming in knowing that they had 43 hits in 4 games against any major league staff. Everybody's seeing the ball and hitting the ball, and they're doing it tonight against one of the best in the game, Matt Harvey.
They're doing it against a guy that had only given up 2 earned runs in his last 20 innings. He's given up 3 tonight in his first 4.
Gant helped his cause with a sacrifice back in the 3rd inning. That led to one of the Braves' 2 runs scored. And now a little tapper right side. That's past the mound. Walker will flip to first in time, and that'll retire the side. Jace Peterson led off with a double, and AJ Pierzynski's fired up. He snapped a hitless streak. Thank you. 3-1 Atlanta as we head to the bottom of the 4th.
And a reminder, the All-Star Game is coming up on July 12th in beautiful San Diego, and we'll take a look at the current NL leaders for the voting. A lot of Cubs. No surprise to anybody. They are phenomenal this season. But check it out. Outfield, Cespedes. We're seeing a little bit of him tonight. Hopefully he doesn't do too good against the Braves this series, but he definitely is looking pretty good there to get a spot in the outfield in the All-Star Game.
Yeah, the All-Star festivities in San Diego, that's tough duty for 4 days. And Yoenis Cespedes certainly has been an all-star caliber performer since coming over from the Detroit Tigers. He and the Mets, though, trail 3-1 now.
You know they will, because they always do. But I hope the Padres in Major League Baseball really incorporate the military.
Oh, yeah.
Out there during the All-Star festivities. That'll be a real hoot for the players to be able to take part and be able to meet some of those people, interact with them.
One of the conversations was with the home runs that Madison Bumgarner had been hitting. How about having the pitchers participate in the home run derby? And there's an interesting idea that was online. I can't remember whose idea it was. It wasn't mine. But I want to get your thoughts on that as Cespedes goes to work. You could have these pitchers who like to hit be a team. Have 4 or 5 pitchers swing the bats and add up their home run totals and see if the pitchers group could advance.
That's good.
Instead of having Madison Bumgarner take 50 or 60 swings, for example.
Of course, Madison might beat the tar out of one of the other pitchers if he didn't carry his weight.
Good point.
No, but that's a good idea.
Certainly would be something different. Cespedes in the 4th.
I thought it was funny that Chris Bryant said he didn't want to do it because he said it's exhausting. And that's been a knock on it forever, is that it lasts too long and too many rounds.
Well, it's a good thing Glavin's not here because he'd be all over Chris Bryant. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a swing and a miss. Cespedes down on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, you know, Gant's fired up. Facing his former organization. He's got 3 strikeouts.
Good action on that fastball coming back to the corner. Tell you what, he can't sit still out there. I know that. He is in constant motion.
Neil Walker fly to center. That ended the New York first. The Mets had such great play from Daniel Murphy last season and that incredible postseason run. Their first choice to replace Daniel Murphy was Ben Zobrist, who's now with the Cubs. He signed a nice contract. So the Mets had a hole to fill. They called the Pittsburgh Pirates and traded Jonathan Neese to get Neil Walker, a longtime Pirate star.
And certainly the Mets were dealing from a position of strength there, starting pitching. Well, it reminds me of, you did the NBA for years. You guys would get on the free throw line, waiting to rebound. You couldn't stand still. Waiting for the guy to shoot the free throw.
Right.
That's what it reminds me of. Guy standing on the lane.
One ball, 2 strikes. That's outside. Well, Ernie Johnson used to say about players who are kind of fidgety like that, make coffee nervous. Right?
Good call. Neil Walker has 14 home runs. He didn't hit his 14th last year for the Pirates until September 8th. I'd say he's well ahead of pace. He's a switch hitter and he is tearing up left-handed pitching.
It's under the letters and the count now full. Conforto's on deck. Gant's got the leadoff man here in the Mets 4th. He leads the game 3-1. And that's rolled foul by Tom Goodwin. He's the Mets' first base coach.
That was a good changeup. Threw him a changeup for a called strike earlier in the at bat.
slow roller to second, and an easy play for Jace Peterson, who makes it. And again, takes care of Walker. 2 outs. And here is Conforto. Conforto struck out his first time up.
Talked about the acquisitions the Mets made last year to help get them over the top and win the division. How about when they brought this guy up
from AA?
Yeah, he wasn't an acquisition, he was a promotion.
Mets rode Conforto and Cespedes and his pitching staff all the way to the World Series.
They beat the Cubs in the NLCS. I think swept them, didn't they?
No balls at a strike. The old proverbial case of the rich get richer. At some point, Zach Wheeler is going to be back for this team. He's coming back from Tommy John surgery. He'll be back by the All-Star break for New York. As Michael didn't get that pitch, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I read somewhere that he's going to throw a simulated inning here in the next few days. That will get his throwing program off to a roaring start. Already been playing catch, of course.
Now the 1-2 is hit foul to the left. Mets have a chance to put the first score up in the East. The Nationals are out west. They play San Diego tonight. Braves trying to spoil the evening here in Game 1 and are doing so, leading 3-1. One ball, 2 strikes.
Can't believe he laid off that.
Now the 2-2. Into the shift. And Ivar's got it. His throw to first in plenty of time. And it's a second 3-up, 3-down inning for John Gant. Top of the order coming up for the Braves, who are off to a good start.
John Gant, 4 innings, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts, only 1 run allowed. Matt Harvey, Braves are touching him up a little bit. He's given up 5 hits, a bunch of doubles, and he trails the Braves 3-1.
You can see every time Harvey misses with a pitch, he's making a little gesture with his hand, his arm. He's trying to keep those mechanics in line. I can't imagine how tough it is to pitch when you're thinking about the opponent and your mechanics at the same time.
When you're thinking about the opponent and you hear yourself talking to yourself, trying to get rid of that guy.
And he just walked Malik Smith on 5 pitches. So Smith's aboard for the first time tonight. That's 2 walks for Harvey. And an excellent chance for the Braves to add on, already leading 3-1.
And that's a bad walk. That's probably what our guys next door are saying on the Mets broadcast, because of a fast runner leading off an inning and already down 3-1.
Malik's has stolen 13 bases, good for 5th in the National League. Let's see if he goes quickly in the count.
Big lead. As a team, the Braves are 13 for their last 13 in swipes and 17 out of 18.
That's another dramatic difference between these two clubs. The Mets win with homers. The Braves have to score runs, putting together hits, trying to manufacture them on the bases. The Braves have 37 steals. The Mets have only 13. But New York a vast advantage in home runs. That was really close.
Now that's close to a balk too. You've got to step. When you do that spin move, you've got to step. And I don't know that his front foot really got turned. See how his foot was actually kind of pointed at about a 45-degree angle. You've got to step. You got to turn.
So no review by New York. As Malix measures off the lead, Ender digs in. And he showed bunt and took a strike.
There's a psychology of stealing bases too, that once you're in the league long enough, once you've figured out some guys' tendencies. Harvey came very close to picking him off two pitches ago. You know he wants to try again. If he was that close, he wants to do it again.
Out of play, a foul. But you've talked a lot with us in the press room about the pitcher's theory about how many times in a row they like to throw over.
Yeah,
or not throw over, I guess.
Yeah, well, left-handers in particular. There was a long-standing theory by an old teammate of mine who was a real good base stealer, Julio Cruz, who thought left-handers will not throw over 3 times in a row.
Harvey sets. Alex 13 steals. He's been caught 7 times.
That front foot again is pretty close.
He's started then stopped, and the pitch popped up. Kelly Johnson and Plawecki. It'll be Kelly in foul ground. Inciarte pops out for the first down of the inning. So Freddie Freeman's the batter. 11 hits in his last 20 at bats. And an RBI double tonight. As we mentioned, he has been a Mets killer throughout his career. Freddie now with 71 career RBIs against the Mets. This is his 95th career game against them. Runner goes, and Freeman fouled it away. Back to first will go Malix.
They are at 24 leading the league. Hamilton's been on the shelf for about a week. He'll catch up though. Alex got thrown out a lot when he first got called up, but he has really improved his percentage over the last week to 10 days.
I just love the threat of speed. Even if he doesn't go, the distraction he's providing for the middle of the Braves order here. Freddie Freeman. He's going now to pitch inside. Plawecki's throw sails way high, and Malix Smith was able to hold the second base bag, and he's got his 14th steal. And that Braves perfect run on the base paths continues here tonight.
This was a tough play for Plawecki. The pitch is inside, so he's got to throw over the top of Freddie Freeman. If I'm Malix Smith, I'm going to have a talk with Freddie and say, hey, don't bend over and get out of the way, please. Provide all the trouble you can for a catcher having to throw over you.
That missed inside for Freddie. 2 balls and a strike. Dad caught it inside corner. That was a tough pitch.
That's the one that got Jace Peterson his first time up.
Two weeks ago, Freddie's chasing that pitch. But not now.
And I'm a little bit surprised about their choice there. 2-2. Of course, they've got a base open. They can throw anything they want. But as hard as Harvey's throwing inside to go out a way where Freddie drove the ball last time up, it's going to surprise him.
Didn't get that one though. Harvey threw an 88-mile-an-hour breaking pitch past Freeman there, and that's the second out of the inning. And it's Harvey's 3rd strikeout of the game.
Yeah, it was a hard slider, but it was up, and you can see Freddie's reaction that he missed it because it was pretty much a mistake. It was a bad pitch that it worked.
That slider's been a devastating pitch for Harvey during this resurgent run for him. Coming into play tonight, opposing hitters were 0 for 15 against that slider this year. It was a big out for him now. It takes a 2-out hit from Markakis to bring home Malix Smith. Fly ball toward right. Granderson's on the run. Not going to get there. Malix Smith streaks home as Nick Markakis with another big 2-out hit for the Braves. 3 of their 4 runs have come on 2-out hits. And it's now a 4-1 Atlanta advantage in the 5th.
All set up by a leadoff walk to a fast runner who stole a base and got himself into scoring position for the 3 and 4 hitters in the lineup. Nick swung at the first pitch, first 2 times up, and they weren't, especially the last one, a breaking ball, wasn't a good pitch to hit. This time he was more patient. He got a good pitch to hit, made the best of it.
A strike to Jace Peterson, who doubled and scored the third Atlanta run. Rays are on a nice roll offensively. 43 hits in their series against the Reds. They've got 6 hits against Matt Harvey in Game 1 tonight.
Harvey won at Turner Field on April 22nd when 5 innings gave up 2 runs. On May 3rd here he lost 3-0. Pitched into the 6th inning, gave up 8 hits and 3 runs.
There's that backup pitch that got Jace Peterson in his first at bat. Harvey has 4 strikeouts, but he's given up 4 runs. Nick Markakis with a big 2-out single brings home Alex Smith. Believe it or not, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 13 games behind the Cubs.
Yeah, my Pirates that I really liked so much at the beginning of the year, thinking they had a chance to compete with the Cubs, have fallen on really hard times.
It's been a rough year for Andrew McCutchen, who's not putting up Andrew McCutchen-like numbers. As we head to the bottom of the 5th inning, Kelly Johnson pops up the first pitch. Long run, Alex Smith. He says he's got it in shallow left, and he does. 1 pitch and 1 man out.
Like those first pitch outs, especially after a run scoring inning.
I think it's safe to say at this point the Mets are kind of a feast or famine offensive team. 53% of their runs come directly as a result of home runs. And when
that's more than anybody, right?
When they hit a home run, it is. When they hit a home run, they're 31-13. They have 12 games this year where they've hit 3 or more homers. But since May the 1st, the Mets have been held to 1 run or less offensively in 13 games. So there has not been any in between, and by in between games I mean one like the Braves are playing offensively tonight for Terry Collins.
Right.
And Matt Harvey is exhibit A of lack of run support. He has not gotten much.
They're only 1 game off of where they were this time last year, right? And it's actually 1 game to the good.
Right.
They won more game than they had at this point.
And the difference was last year they led the division by 1.5 games, not trailed by 5, which is where they stand now.
Well, if that recipe resonated with them last year and what they, in terms of what they did to help their lineup, to in turn help their pitching, maybe they'll do the same thing again. lot of it's going to hinge on Duda's back.
Right.
How bad is it? Will he be able to come back and be productive? There are the differences through 65 games. ERA this year actually better.
Yeah, the difference is this year it's the Mets that aren't healthy as opposed to the Nationals, who are going through exactly what New York is going through now in 2015.
Needless to say, there's nothing you can do about injuries. You don't project for them. You don't know who and when and where. And you can have a real solid ball club, but you lose 2 or 3 players, you may not have the wherewithal.
To center by Loney. Ender's got that.
And by that I mean the budget to go out and get a player of equal ability to replace the one that's hurt. And I'm talking about David Wright specifically right now. You know, how do you do that? And can the Mets afford it?
David Wright's one of my favorite opposing players to watch play. He's so good for the game. He's the captain of the New York Mets. But let's be fair too. He's only played 37 games this year. 7 homers, 14 RBIs, and was hitting .226. So even when David was playing, he wasn't the same David Wright we've all been spoiled in watching for so many years.
How many games?
37.
See, but to me, 7 homers, 14 RBIs. When he's out there, he's such a presence for them and a threat in their lineup. He doesn't have to hit third or clean up to be that guy with this lineup when they're all healthy. He can do that hit, yeah, he can do that hit in second, and all of a sudden you're talking about what a good productive player he is for their lineup.
Well, I'm guessing that David Wright's contract is insured, and if so, the Mets would get some salary relief to be able to go out and get a player. But David Wright is under contract at big money for a lot more years too. That's the other concern.
But if you have designs on winning, and the Mets came this close to winning it all last year, and they want to come back and do it this year with this pitching they have and with the closer they have in Familia, they got things set up to make another run at it. But when you have injuries, again, it's how far can you go? How far can you stretch the budget to replace those players if you don't expect to have them back? And I don't think they're counting on David Wright in any strong way. They just don't know about Duda yet.
Strike 3 called. Gant took care of Plawecki, and the young man from Savannah is dealing. He is through 5 in New York. The Braves have given him a 4-1 lead. Kelsey Winkert's along as well, and it's time for our Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light.
Yeah, the flip side of what you were just talking about, Chip, with the Mets having 53% of their runs come by way of home runs and leading the major leagues in that category. The Braves are last in that category because they just don't hit many home runs, as we have pointed out, and have to manufacture theirs in different ways.
And they have done that beautifully tonight. 4 runs on 6 hits. 3 of the 4 runs have come with 2 outs. And Matt Harvey back to work for his 6th inning with d'Arnaud, Przinsky, and Ibar coming up. Just missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I imagine for Chase d'Arnaud, this is the first time in maybe his entire major league career he's gotten this much regular playing time. As he's down on strikes. And he has been a real revelation for the Braves, playing second, third, right, short, and left. And has a .286 June batting average at the start of tonight's play. Done a nice job.
And whether he can or cannot, he has at least volunteered to be the emergency catcher if needed.
One out for A.J. Przinsky, an RBI hit last time up. And this one slowly rolled up the middle. Cabrera to his right, and a perfect throw for the second out. We'll see if Harvey continues after this inning. He's due to hit first in the 6th inning for the Mets. But John Gant is rolling.
Yeah. Got a 1-hitter. That was the leadoff double.
Mets have had just 2 base runners. That double and a walk to Plawecki in the New York 3rd. And Ibar takes a strike. It's 0-1. Oh, 0-2. Pitch count not an issue for Harvey, as it'll take him an 80th pitch to get out of this inning.
His velocity's been good. His slider's been good. Curveball's been decent.
He's missed a lot there.
He has. But I think the Braves have just, anytime he's made even the slightest mistake, they've taken advantage of it.
Like that.
Especially with guys on base.
Another 2-out hit. It's a good piece of hitting by Ibar. That allows the Braves to clear the pitcher. Yeah. Chest bump with Eddie Perez at first base. So Ibar's bat's coming to life. He's 5 for his last 11. And here's Gant. Gant was a 21st round pick by the Mets in 2011. And that one tapped toward the mound. Harvey's got it, and he makes the throw to first, and that's in time to retire the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. Harvey is due to lead off for New York. They trail at 4-1. Showdown you can only see on FS1 when the Rangers take on the Cardinals at 4 Eastern. Then it's baseball night in America with a National League Eastern battle between the Braves and Mets. That game is on air at 8 Eastern on your local Fox station, or you can stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Pitchers for Game 2, Aaron Blair for the Braves, Steven Matz will go for the Mets. But the story tonight is John Gant, starting for the first time against the team that drafted him 5 years ago. He's through 5 innings with 1 run and 1 hit.
Yeah, the hit came from Granderson leading off the game with a double. Scored on a ground out by Cespedes. Gave up a leadoff walk to Plawecki in the 3rd inning. Pitched around that. He has struck out 4, and he is having a great time. Just watching his body language, he is having some fun tonight.
So Ty Kelly is going to come on and bat for Matt Harvey. Harvey is out of the game. The Mets right-hander went 6, 7 hits, 4 runs.
Ty Kelly signed as a minor league free agent last November.
And hitting 174 for the year, and an off-speed pitch of beauty. Strike 1.
Signed by the Orioles, played for the Mariners organization, the Cardinals, most recently the Blue Jays.
Antonio Bastardo will be the next Mets pitcher. Haven't even mentioned Juan Lagares. He's another Met that's hurt. And Kelly took his roster spot. And he takes this one toward the gap in right center, but Enciarte tracks it down. And Kelly's retired. 1 man down. Ten up, 10 down for Gant. Sharply hit, but right to Freddie Freeman. He handles the one-hopper and steps on the bag. There's the second out. In case you wondered how far into a game John Gant has pitched this year, his longest outing was with Gwinnett. He went 6 2/3 innings against Pawtucket on May the 30th. 97 pitches in that game.
It's a cool night. He's been breezing through the last 3 innings. What's he set down? 3, 6, 7, 8, 11 in a row.
And a shot headed for the right field corner by Cabrera. And that will be the second Mets hit. Both of them are doubles. And that ends that impressive streak by John Gant. And it'll bring up Cespedes with 2 out. So it is a 9-game hitting streak for Cabrera against the Braves now.
Changeup that stayed up. Fooled him, but kept his hands back long enough. Put good wood on it.
So finally the Mets fans have a chance to make a little noise. And you have to be careful with Yoenis Cespedes. He's knocked in the lone New York run with a ground out. He's hit 16 home runs. Good pitch, strike 1. That's impressive. 16 out of 21 Mets hitters have fallen behind 0-1 tonight. And That got a corner, and Cespedes didn't like it.
Let's take a look. Had a lot of backing up on it. Foxtrax says it was a little wide, but Gant will take that call from Mike Winters.
Bouncing ball over the mound. Jace has it. Throw to first in time. And that retires the side. Gant is through 6 with a 3-run lead. Top of the order coming up here in New York. With 4 runs and 7 hits, now a familiar face will stride in from the Mets bullpen. It's left-hander Antonio Bastardo.
.433 ERA in 25 games. Better than a strikeout per inning pitched. Good overall average against it, .235, and you bet the Braves have seen a lot of him.
The Mets have an excellent bullpen. The best relief ERA in the National League, 3rd best ERA in Major League Baseball. But lately, Bastardo has not helped those numbers. He's been hit hard. 9 runs in his last 9 outings, and he's really struggled in this ballpark. For some reason, Bastardo's given up 8 earned runs in 11 2/3 innings on his home mound. That's a .617 earned run average. And he's got Malik Smith leading off. Malik's walked, stole a base, and scored the 4th run in his last time up.
Fastball, slider, fastball 92, 93, 94. And once the lefties a swing at that slider away.
One ball, 2 strikes for Malik Smith. And he's down swinging. There's the first out of the inning. Mets have struck out 6 Braves hitters. That's the first time Malik's has gone down.
Malik's is going to, as he goes along, he's going to have to take on a little different approach with left-handed pitchers until he gets comfortable with them. Perhaps more bunting, perhaps more giving up the inside half of the plate, just trying to hit the ball the other way, and doing anything he can just to put it in play.
So Bastardo gets his first another lefty bat, and Inciarte. In fact, the Braves have 5 straight left-hand hitters lined up atop the batting order tonight. And that's fouled away by Inciarte. Steve, right one. Foul at first, 0-2.
And that's what Ender's doing. This may be a guy, I don't have the head-to-head matchups with Bastardo and Ender, but if it's a guy that's been giving him trouble, he's tried to bunt each of the first 2 pitches.
Away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's to second. Walker handles, and his throw is perfect for the second out. Once again, here's Freddie Freeman. Freddie's 1 for 3, a double, and a run batted in. Blair and Matt's here tomorrow night. That'll be a FS1 game. Joe and I are back with you on Sunday for Julio Teheran and Jacob deGrom. That'll be a fun matchup. We'll have Braves live for you at 12:30. First pitch at 1:10. Then we head to Miami, a brief 2-game series with Marlins Tuesday and Wednesday. Lefty's only hitting .238 against Bastardo this year. 10 hits and 44 at bats now. And he's quickly ahead of Freddie Freeman. He just missed a corner. Broken bat, and Loney at first will flip to the pitcher. Close play, and Freddie beat it out.
Freddie was hustling down the line right after he dropped the bat. He sensed that because it was wide of the bag, he might be able to beat Bastardo to the bag, and he was hustling best he could from that position. And he was helping out over there, helping Marty Foster in terms of whose foot hit the bag first. Bastardo caught the toss, then looked down, and his footwork, his feet weren't in position to get that right foot there first. He put it down. Took him 2 steps to do it.
The Mets are going to challenge this call at first. Freeman was called safe. And so replay review here in New York. has a very close call to make. Oh, man.
You can't overturn that. If you want the tie to go to the runner.
When you talk about a flip of the coin call.
And see, his spike, the start of spike it looks like it hit first, but Freddie's heel is on the bag, not the toe of his shoe.
You can't deny the flying feet of Freddie Freeman, can you?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, it's the free cycle guy,
right? This is a case where not enough evidence ought to really help the Braves first baseman earn his second hit. But more than that, I just love the hustle. I love not conceding anything. Jammed, broken bat, slow roller, and he put it in high gear and made a close play of it at first base.
And how bad he wants this hit. That's obvious too. Front spike of Bastardo, the heel of Freddie. And if Bastardo hadn't been trying to do some fancy footwork there, it would have been a no contest. Safe.
Infield hit for Freddie Freeman. The call stands. And while the fans boo, I do have sympathy for the umpires in New York. There wasn't enough evidence. I mean, it was that close.
Yeah.
That's why I said it really was a flip of the coin call. That was a no-win call for Marty Foster at first base. Somebody was going to be unhappy. And according to replay, he got it right. So the inning stays alive for Nick Markakis. Braves have been very productive with 2 outs in this game. 6 of their 7 hits have been 2-out hits. Make that 6 of their 8 hits. They haven't credited Freeman with that one on the board. Now they have 6 of 8 with 2 outs.
There's an old story about a call at second base at Yankee Stadium one time. The opponent slid into second base and the umpire signaled out, but he said safe.
Really?
He said you're safe, but he signaled out.
Oh.
So Yankees were the infielder was saying, wait a minute, I tagged him. I thought I got him. And the umpire told the player from the other team, he said, I called you safe, and we know you're safe, but 50,000 people here saw me call you out. You're out.
Never was an umpire happier that replay didn't exist.
Exactly.
And that man at Yankee Stadium. 2 balls, 1 strike for Nick Markakis. Balls, 1 strike. That's a full count.
Can't really expect him to give in here. He likes to throw that slider. Might throw another one. 3-2.
There goes Freeman. And Markakis takes ball 4. Boy, the Braves have worked counts tonight. They've been selectively aggressive. They've swung it well with 2 outs. They've prolonged innings with 2 outs. And now they could maybe deliver a final nail with a big hit from Jace Peterson, who's our Home Depot tools from the dugout.
7-game hitting streak, 409 average. That pretty much coincides with when he was called back up. He's walked a lot. Great on base percentage. He's already doubled and scored tonight. And now a chance for an RBI.
And he's the 5th left-handed hitter in a row for Atlanta on the lineup card. 4-1 Braves. Get some insurance. That's way high. 1 ball, no strikes. The Mets saw the Braves early in the season when things were as bad as they could be for Atlanta. New York won 5 of the first 6 games head-to-head. Braves trying to chip away at that margin tonight. And a good cut by Jace into the seats.
Good swing.
Terry Collins and the Mets are 14-10 against divisional opponents this year. How about this one? The Nationals have already played 37 games against the East, and they've won 24 of them. That's another reason why they have their lead. They are 3-3 head-to-head with New York. Those are the top 2 teams in the division. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Washington can sit back and watch and wait and see what happens tonight. They play the Padres out at Petco this evening. They can pick up ground before they throw a baseball tonight, if Atlanta can hold on to this lead. Two-on ground ball toward Walker from the cut of the outfield grass. He throws to first, and Bastardo has some 7th-inning trouble, but the Braves don't cash in. How about Freddie Freeman? Another multi-hit game, and we head to the stretch with a 3-run lead.
Atlanta Braves baseball is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers, Let's Go Places, the Georgia Lottery, and Synovus, the Bank of Here.
Country Club continues tomorrow as they finish 2nd round play starting at 7:30 a.m. Eastern on FS1, followed by regular 3rd round play on Fox, and you can watch it all live on Fox Sports Go. They've had to work overtime to keep that course and 100% everything.
Ton of rain Wednesday night and into yesterday, or this morning actually. But the MVPs might be all the course superintendents and groundskeepers that are working that course, and all the work they had to put in overnight last night when a lightning bolt hit a tree on the set near the 17th green, went into the ground and zapped the electrical lines that control their pumps for all their irrigation. They had to go around searching for places wherever the disconnects were, replace them, reconnect, all the while repairing bunkers and what have you. Just yeoman work by the maintenance people to get it ready for play today. Amazing.
So we are in the bottom of the 7th inning. John Gant just keeps throwing that breaking ball and hitting the glove of A.J. Brzezinski almost effortlessly tonight.
Well, hitters get frustrated, just as Walker did there. And in many cases, they're their own worst enemy because they give up on it. They don't think it's a strike, so they don't think the umpire should call it a strike. But he's had an excellent curveball. With all the talk about his bulk and changeup, his curveball has been outstanding in both starts.
So you know all the fans in Braves country down in Savannah are tuned into this game tonight. So pick up the phone and tell them John Gant's got a special game working against the Mets tonight. 1 run on 2 hits allowed in the first game of this series. In the air to shallow left. Malik Smith is going to track it down, and Walker's retired for the first out. And the longest that John has pitched in a game this year at any level is 6 2/3 innings. He does have a complete game. That was in 2013 when he pitched for the Brooklyn Cyclones, one of the Mets farm teams. And that was a 1-hit shutout. Here's Michael Conforto. He's 0 for 2 and a big swing and a miss. Out of play, 0 and 2. Swing and a miss. 2 outs. Well, isn't it funny how history repeats itself in Major League Baseball? Almost a year ago to the day, as that went right on by, another Braves young right-hander made his first appearance against the Mets. Matt Whistler, 8 innings of 6-hit, 1-run ball. And here Gant is 363 days later, throwing a 2-hitter in New York at the defending National League champs. And Kelly Johnson, the hitter. Just a bit low, 2-0.
In just 20 at-bats before tonight, Kelly's already hit the longest home run hit by a Met hitter this year. Terry Collins told us it went off the Wise potato chip sign above the Mets bullpen. It's quite a poke.
And 4 straight puts Kelly aboard, and it'll bring up James Loney. So let's hope this score stays where it is, because we'll have a lot of good things to talk about with you on Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. Andre Aldridge is in the hosting chair tonight, and A.J. Przinsky goes to the mound, and that's far enough, it appears, for Brian Snitker, as John Gant's thrown 104 pitches. No way Brian Snitker is going to let this one get away from John Gant. Boy, was he impressive tonight. 6 2/3 innings, 2 hits. He issued a couple of walks, but only 1 run. Nice job, young man. Savannah's proud of you. Back for more in New York right after this. Braves 4, Mets 1. Time for tonight's SunTrust Moments That Matter.
And this tonight belongs to John Gant. Fastball right around 93 most of the night. He's had that big hook. He's had his changeup. Everything's working. 2 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, only 1 run allowed. That was in the first inning. He gave up a leadoff double. Ground out, got Granderson to third, ground out, scored him. That's how the Mets have their run. So good work by him as he's in line for the win if the bullpen can hang on to the lead.
He outpitched Matt Harvey in the first game tonight. Chris Withrow's the first in relief this evening. He's making his 21st appearance. Those numbers inflated after a couple of rough outings on the homestand.
Yeah, that ERA not indicative of how he has pitched.
Actually, it was 1 bad outing. I beg your pardon. It was against the Cubs. 6 runs in 1/3 of an inning. So James Loney, another former Dodger, facing Chris Withrow with 2 outs. And it's up and away. 1 ball, no strikes. No drama. Let's get this guy and go to the 8th inning. The Braves don't want the Mets to bring the tying run to the plate late. Walks have been a problem for the Braves bullpen this month. 32 of them in 56 1/3 innings.
Way too many.
Throws behind 2-0.
Some of those are probably intentional walks, but even taking those away, it's too many.
Chris has done a good job getting the first batter out. He's retired 17 of 20 first batters. Battle back to even it up with Loney. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Full count. There's Plawecki. Kelly Johnson leads at first. They'll take off with a payoff pitch and 2 outs. There he goes. And it's a line drive to left. Malix plays it safely. And Kelly Johnson's forced to stop at second. So Loney with an opposite field hit will bring up Plawecki, and Plawecki represents the tying run.
Smart play here by Malix Smith. He was playing shallow for the left-handed hitter. Get over breaking ball, and he had thoughts of trying to come in and make a great catch. But when you have the lead, especially with 2 outs, you got to play it smart. And he did.
Two on, 2 out. Plawecki has walked and struck out. And that missed badly high, 1-0.
Need to get ahead in the count. That would help immensely.
Now it's even. Plawecki has been ice cold at home. Just 3 hits in his last 23 at bats. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. Withrow playing with fire now. 3 balls and a strike. Marty Reed has the lineup card in the bullpen. Hunter Cervenka looks ready if needed. Another one of those would be welcome. Full count.
Runners will be moving. Ground ball, and fielders need to knock the ball down. Base hit. Outfielders need to throw the ball to second.
Johnson and Loney take off. And that's fouled away. Something got popped off of AJ Przinsky.
I think it was his shoulder flap.
Again, a 3-2. Runners go. Ball 4, not close. Loaded up are the Mets. And the number 9 spot on the lineup card is scheduled. And Bastardo will be taken down, as Terry Collins will go to his bench. And Alejandro De Aza.
He doesn't have a lot of options. It would appear that Brian Snitker has seen enough tonight, and he's going to bring in the lefty.
So Withrow could not retire a batter and end the inning. A single and a walk are allowed by the big Braves right-hander. The Mets have him loaded for De Aza, and Hunter Cervenka, it appears, will come on to try to protect a 4-1 lead late.
Sports and outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. That includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.TV for details.
Hunter Cervenka's got a couple of things going for him. He has stranded 16 of 18 inherited runners on the year, and he's held opponents to real low batting averages, including right-handers. So instead of De Aza, who is left-handed, it'll be Wilmer Flores who will pinch hit. And as you saw there, right-handers hitting .233 against him.
Flores, a fan favorite here in New York, is 1 for 7 as a pinch hitter with an RBI. Those are his season numbers. And he's coming off a game against the Pirates that saw him go deep. The Braves don't want to see that here. They've got a 3-run lead, and the Mets have him loaded with 2 outs. And the first pitch popped up. AJ behind the plate gives chase over near the screen and runs out of room.
He was trying to come back.
Flores has been a hot hitter for the Mets. He took over as their starter on June 3rd. Has 15 hits and 40 at-bats since. Tonight it was Kelly Johnson getting the start at third base, and Kelly's standing at third after walking with 2 outs. Loney at second, Plawecki at first. Strike 2. Flores thought it was high.
Top of the zone. Cutter. Flores has been laid up. He got hit on the left hand in a game against the Pirates. X-rays were negative.
And a swing and a miss. Cervenka comes out of the bullpen and throws 3 pitches to strand 3 Mets in the home 7. That'll send some of the faithful headed for the highways. 4-1. Atlanta leads it. In the bottom of the 7th inning. And now it's time for our Yellowwood brand bringing the lumber feature.
Braves have been swinging the bats real well coming into this series. Tonight, no different. First hit of the night, a double by d'Arnaud. RBI double by Inciarte. Double by Freddie Freeman. Double by Jace Peterson. 8 hits for the Braves tonight, and they lead 4-1 going to the 8th inning.
And 6 of those 8 have come with 2 outs tonight, as the Braves batsman will take aim at Eric Goodell, the 3rd Mets pitcher of the night. He was recalled from Las Vegas on May 12th.
He's been up and down a couple of times, and that's why he hadn't been in too many games, but he might get a lot of work in the coming days.
d'Arnaud, A.J. Pierzynski, and Ibar will greet him here in the 8th. 4-1, Braves have the lead. And Goodell misses high. Goodell pitched in 35 games for the Mets last year and was pretty effective. A .235 ERA in 33 1/3 innings. But missed 3 months with a strained elbow. He's promptly come in and missed high with 3 straight. 3 balls, no strikes for d'Arnaud. That went in for a strike. John Gant, 6 2/3 innings of 2-hit, 1-run ball. He's in line to win this game tonight. He's outdueled Matt Harvey. And it's a base on balls to start the Atlanta 8th. So 1 on, nobody out. We'll take a look at tonight's Toyota Tweet of the Week. This week's question is, who do you consider to be the Braves' biggest rival in the National League East, and why? Tweet us at Fox Sports South using hashtag NL East Rival, and your answer could be read during our Braves live postgame show. Big crowd has been mostly silent tonight. 40,148. They were hoping to see Matt Harvey continue his terrific run of work on the mound. Didn't happen tonight.
Well, he issued 2 leadoff walks and both scored. And now the Braves have another leadoff walk here in the 8th.
Runner goes, great jump, and AJ shoots one to second. Nice diving stop by Walker, and look at Pierzynski. He absolutely crushed that ball, and Walker with full extension made a nice play to rob him of a hit, but d'Arnaud's at second with 1 out.
With the shift on, they didn't need to pull Walker out of position to cover. They already had Cabrera right behind the bag, so he was right there to take that hit away from him.
Another good night at the plate for Ibar. He's got that average over 200. He's walked, scored, and singled. Just imagine the ever popular New York City sports talk radio shows tomorrow. If this score holds, all the fans will start saying, how in the world could the Mets have traded John Gant to the Braves? They should have traded Matt Harvey. As a line drive into center field will drop for a hit. Cespedes up cleanly, then dropped the ball.
And then dropped it again.
So Ibar with an RBI hit. The Braves cash in their 3rd run, courtesy of a base on balls. And that extends the lead to 5-1. No RBI on that play, as they charge Cespedes with the error.
Well, Cespedes was on this quickly, and he's got a great arm. That's why Bo Porter was holding d'Arnaud, and then when d'Arnaud stopped and looked back, Cespedes picked it up right there and dropped it again. Holding, looked back, he dropped, kicked it again, and scored easily. Thank you. Nice inning. Good work.
Five runs on 8 Braves hits tonight. And this is Jeff Francoeur batting for Cervenka. Good bit of managing here by Brian Snitker to get him in to tonight's game, even with a right-hander on the mound. You figure Jeff will get in the lineup tomorrow against Steven Matz, a left-handed pitcher for New York. And that's out of play, foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Jeff, 277 for the year, 3 for 14 in a pinch. He's not going to run. And that's high. 1-2.
How much time did Jeff spend here after he was traded for Ryan Church?
I want to say a year and a half.
Yeah, it's about right. Spent the second half of the 2009 season here and hit .311 with 10 homers. Started the year with the Mets the next year, 2010. .237 with 11 homers, and then traded to Texas.
The 2-2 pitch. Ouch. Wow, Plawecki got lucky there. He was flinching and turning when that breaking ball came in. It was fouled off the side of his head, it looked like. That stung. Watch this. Bang. Right off the side of the mask.
Yeah, he's paying a price for that.
Just me, or is Jeff a little more patient this year at the plate?
No doubt. He's waiting, and that may be a byproduct of what he worked on last year with the Phillies. It's so beneficial.
This one's popped up. And Granderson in shallow right. Puts the squeeze on that. High bar back to first. Jeff flies out for the second out of the inning. And Malik Smith will be the hitter, but he's not going to face Goodell. Terry Collins will go to his bullpen again. So a leadoff walk, an Ibar single, a Cespedes error in center is added to the Braves' lead. It's 5-1 as the Mets make another pitching change. free. The Braves and Chick-fil-A are now offering 2 free tickets to any remaining home game for all members of the Braves Kids Club. Visit braves.com/kids.
That's a pretty good crew working right there, isn't it?
Yeah, the kid that's standing right behind that young man right there. Bet he's a diaper dandy.
You know it.
Jerry Blevins is on. He had a star-crossed year for the Mets last year, but boy, he's been good this season for the Mets.
17 straight scoreless outings. Yeah, I'll say that's pretty good. Not a flamethrower. Fastball, slider, change. Good cut there by Malix.
Blevins had his arm fractured with a line drive last year, and then was in the midst of getting that arm back in shape, watching it heal. I believe he tripped over a curb, fell down, and broke it again. He's ahead of Malix. No balls at a strike. 0-2. Malix has scored tonight. He's added to his stolen base total. He's grounded out twice, struck out once. That strikeout was against another lefty reliever for the Mets, Antonio Bastardo, 1 inning ago.
Malix is hitting .311 coming into the game tonight against right-handed pitching. That's solid.
That one softly hit to second.
But he's now 3 for 45 against left-handed pitching.
A steep learning curve for Malix against the lefties, but the Braves get a gift run in the 8th.
To the bottom of the 8th, and we do have some updates on some guys on the 15-day DL. Starting pitcher Mike Foltynewicz has bone spurs in his pitching elbow. He did throw off of a mound on Thursday, and he is expected to throw to some live hitters down in Florida at their rehab place sometime this weekend. And Gordon Beckham has been on that DL dealing with that same hamstring injury. They said he's feeling good, he's running on it, could possibly be back next week, but they really just want to nip it now since this is his second DL stint for that hamstring, guys.
Great report, Kelsey. Thank you very much. And here's a man who really benefited from a stay on the DL. Jim Johnson's come out and has been lights out since.
He has been throwing hard. He's been aggressive. His last 9 outings, he's only given up 1 run. And that includes 9 strikeouts over that stretch.
Johnson for the top of the Mets order in the 8th. And that buzzed the tower of Curtis Granderson. Granderson led off with a double, scored on a ground out by Cespedes. The Mets led 1-0 behind Matt Harvey. Then gave up 2 runs in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. Harvey went 6, gave up 4 runs. John Gant outpitched Matt Harvey tonight. 6 2/3 with 2 hits. Oh, wow. Oh, now that was called a ball right down the middle.
Huh. Foxtrax had it high.
We had who for the Mets took a high strike. Was that Wilmer Flores? Yeah, Wilmer Flores took a strike that was higher than that.
Yeah.
It's a big miss, and that's why Granderson with a base hit to right.
Well, Jim Johnson has been terrific since he came back from the DL. We just told you that, but his ERA 1.29, outstanding. Not all that many hits. That's like the 3rd hit he's allowed in his last 4 outings plus this one. You know, I don't know how far back people's memories go on players other than when they pitched for the Braves, but this guy was a top-notch closer for the Orioles for several years in a row.
There's strike 2 as Drupal Cabrera. He has a double in 3 trips. Mets only have 4 hits tonight. Back to the mound. Good throw to second for 1. Ibar set his feet and threw a strike to first for a comebacker double play.
In 2012, as you see our Toyota key play of the game, 2012 Jim Johnson had 51 saves for Baltimore and followed that up the next year in 2013 with 50 more. And did an excellent job here of getting that double play started.
So 2 outs for Cespedes.
You might recall last year, the day the season was starting, that Craig Kimbrell got traded to San Diego, and the Braves were then trying to figure out, well, who's going to close, because Atlanta had Jason Grilli and Jim Johnson, who both had closing experience, and wondering would it fall on one or both. And as it turned out, it went to Jason Grilli to start the season, and he held on to the job until he was hurt. I mean, he is pounding the strike zone with 94, 95 fastballs.
And not only is he pounding the strike zone, I mean, he's hitting corners, he is down and away. I mean, he's painting. There's not been much left down the middle by Jim Johnson. And that's buzzing in on the hands. It's 2-2. Arizona's beating the Phillies tonight, 10-2. That game's in the 8th inning. Phillies have started to play like many thought they would. They've lost 20 of their last 26 games now. Marlins are winning at home, 5-1 in the 8th. And that one just foul past third. And we'll see Miami coming up. Ichiro's 21 hits away from 3,000.
Suzuki?
Ichiro Suzuki is 21 hits away from 3,000.
Just make sure I had the right one.
That's right. Slow roller hit toward third. Darno's going to let it trickle, and it'll stay fair on the grass. Even if he comes up with it, I don't think he gets Cespedes. So he gets an infield hit, his first of the night.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to come get that one when the guy just sizzled a rocket past you that was just foul. Ball had a little mud on it from the area in front of home plate too.
Is Cespedes all right? Apparently so. Walker's 0 for 3. Coming back from a sore back. And that's low, ball 1. Reds lead Houston 1-0 in the 6th inning down at Minute Maid Park. Giants 5, Tampa Bay 0 in the 9th. Toronto in a big shootout with the Baltimore Orioles leading 13-2. That game's in the 9th inning at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. They had to put Jose Bautista on the DL today.
You know what, Toronto can score some runs.
Edwin Encarnacion, 8 homers, 19 RBIs in his last 13 games. He had 61 RBIs entering play tonight. And for the 5th time in 7 games, Toronto scored in double digits. And there's a fly ball toward right. That's going to get down in front of Markakis. And the Mets threaten again here in the 8th inning with 2 on and 2 out. So the double play looming large. And here's Michael Conforto, who struck out twice in 3 trips. Well, the importance of that gift run in the 8th inning is apparent right now. Conforto touches one off, the Braves would still lead.
You got to figure the Braves are without Ian Kroll tonight. He worked 2 innings plus yesterday in the Braves 7-2 win. He was trying to save the bullpen. He's going to need a day of rest. So they've got one more lefty down there if they need him. And he's a former Met.
That's out of play. That's Dario Alvarez. Boy, was he impressive in his Braves debut. Alvarez struck out 5 in 2 innings against the Reds 2 nights ago. He was in a long extra inning game, and he's the man that's beginning to loosen.
3 straight lefties. Conforto, Kelly Johnson, and Loney. Depending on what happens here.
New York loaded the bases with 2 outs in the 7th. Hunter Cervenka came on and bailed out Gant and Withrow. They struck out Wilmer Flores on 3 pitches. Curtis Granderson singled to start this inning. Cabrera hit into a double play. Cespedes an infield hit. Walker a clean single to right. So 2 are on, 2 are out. Did it go? Yep. That changes the at-bat. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Sure does. Mike Muchlinski, the third base umpire, and now you went.
Boy, the hot dog vendors here in New York really hate check swing strike calls.
They
2
do.
balls, 2
Yeah,
strikes.
they do. In between barking to announce that they are coming with the hot dogs.
The 2-2 swing and a miss. And that retires the side. The Mets have stranded 5 men in the last 2 innings. The Braves pitching has been spectacular tonight. It's 5-1 as we go to the 9th. Atlanta leads. Sign your kids up for the free Braves Kids Club and get 2 free tickets to any remaining home game. Plus, take advantage of great Kids Club member benefits like VIP access to Kids Run the Bases, a Freddie Freeman jersey, and batting practice passes. Go to Braves.com/kids today. We are in the 9th inning. Braves 5, Mets 1. Ender Inciarte will lead it off.
That's a sign of winning. Winning a ball game. What we just saw in the dugout.
Broken bat and a base hit by Inciarte. He's got a 2-hit game.
When guys are milling around and talking about getting out of the jam they just were in, everybody's got something to say or talk about a pitch or a play. When you're not winning and things are going bad, guys come back to the dugout and just plop down and try to figure out what's going on and why things are not going your way.
Freddie Freeman, the batter. And he hits one the other way with a shift on. Long throw to first, and he beat out another one on the infield.
Freddie and his Jets.
Nice.
They have no recourse. Tried to go the other way with the shift on. Tough play for Cabrera. Hustling again, lunging, beat it.
Hey, when you're hot, right? 10 hits in 4 games against the Reds. He's got 3 more hits tonight. And
oh yeah,
clearly safe.
Yeah, and he's leading the major leagues in infield hits tonight.
So Inciarte and Freeman are aboard for Nick Markakis. He'd like a multi-hit game. And that's in for a strike.
3 hits tonight, 3 hits last night. 4 hits for the cycle. I'd say he's got a pretty good run going.
Blevins missed outside. It's 1-2. That Toronto game's final in Baltimore. The Jays hit 5 home runs tonight. And Michael Saunders hit 3 of them.
Did he really?
3-homer game at Camden Yards.
His name's been mentioned with regard to some trade rumors with some other teams, most notably the Giants.
With that win, Toronto pulls to within a game of Baltimore in the AL East. The Yankees and Rays are at the bottom of the division, 6.5 out. All the guys in our crew, as soon as I mention the Yankees, start flipping their hands, doing the dismissive, forget about it, who cares, they're too old, they're terrible.
I've heard that Yankee fans have basically become disinterested in this team. It's like, who cares?
Wow.
And heaven forbid that they let anyone know that they're paying attention to the Mets.
And 40,000 here at Citi tonight, as the 3-2 pitch won't be made. Yeah, the Yankees are in a tough spot. Players with big contracts, big resumes, big names, and big injury problems. They've used 6 first basemen this year. That one's out of play, foul. Were not for Carlos Beltran, who's having a pretty good year for them. Lord knows how much worse things would be up in the Bronx.
Well, you mentioned a lot of things. Big, their numbers are not.
Right.
Except for Beltran.
Another full count pitch. 2 on, nobody out. We're in the 9th. Fly ball center. Cespedes going back. Slowing now. Makes the catch. Inciarte's going to tag, and he'll move up to third on a deep fly ball by Nick Markakis. Runners are at the corners now for Jace Peterson.
Yeah, these left-handers have some pretty good at bats against Blevins. Solid single by Inciarte, the infield hit by Freddie, and that was a very productive out for Nick. Good at bat.
Jace Peterson has doubled and scored tonight. So far so good. Braves leading in the 9th. Nice way to start this 2-city trip. Game 2 tomorrow night on FS1. Aaron Blair, Stephen Matz. Bunted foul, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Not a bad idea, especially on your first strike. If it put you in the hole 1 and 2, that's a different story, but that wasn't a bad idea at all. Now hit a fly ball and get him in.
There's a big bender in for a strike. It's 1-2. Strike 3. That's that inside corner. And if you recall, early in the season, that was a hole that Jace just could not cover up. And the Mets have exploited that 3 times tonight. And that's the 2nd out of the inning. And Terry Collins Won't let Chase Darno face Blevins with runners first and third. So the Mets in the bullpen again. They'll make a fourth pitching change as we continue in the top of the ninth.
Sponsored by the 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, Georgia Power, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Beautiful night in New York. Earlier this evening, we talked about the Braves Kids Club. Well, Braves and Chick-fil-A are offering 2 free tickets to any remaining home game for all members of the Braves Kids Club, and membership is free. All you have to do is log on to braves.com/kids and find out more. Tonight in New York, it was Kids Club time for the Braves. John Gant threw 6 2/3 innings of 2-hit, 1-run baseball, and he's in line for his first big league victory tonight. That's going to their bullpen again. It's Hansel Robles, pitching in his 30th game this season.
This guy can bring it. Mid-90s, sometimes 97 miles an hour on his fastball with a hard slider.
Braves have 6 2-out hits tonight. They'd love another one from Chase Darno. And the first Atlanta hit of the game. A 2-out double off Matt Harvey in the second.
As you see, though, he's been on base twice tonight and scored a run. So everybody chipping in.
Freddie Freeman took off with the pitch. And he will be credited with his 3rd stolen base to go along with 2 infield hits. Somebody get that guy a shoe contract.
Oh, he's weird, but he's wonderful.
If Elton John is watching this game, and I'll bet he is, he's a huge Braves fan. Sir, I humbly apologize.
No apology needed. That's a tribute. Just plagiarizing a little bit on the tune. Just changing the words around a little bit.
It's a little low. Well, I know the Braves did some commercials with Timothy Miller, like carpool karaoke type stuff. Maybe we can get Elton John to do something with
That'd be a great idea.
Freddie Freeman.
Gosh, I hope I can be around to watch. Huge Elton fan, always have been.
3 balls, 1 strike. And that's outside. Man, oh man, have the Braves been patient in this game. Really been fun to watch. And now Atlanta has them loaded. Braves have earned 5 walks. They have 11 hits. A.J. Brzezinski has one of those hits. It was a run-scoring single in the fourth that extended the Braves' lead to 3-1. He's had a couple of hits taken away by the Mets middle infielders. And this one's hit toward first. And Robles to the bag. Loney with a perfect flip. And that retires the side. The Braves need 3 outs to preserve John Gant's first major league win. We go to the bottom of the ninth. That is Arodys Vizcaíno. He will come on and try to finish off New York with a 4-run lead. Plenty of good to talk about on Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. We'll check in with Brian Snitker. You know, we'll try to talk to John Gant as he's living a dream this evening. The Braves are 3 outs away from giving him his first big league victory against the team that drafted him and in their ballpark tonight.
Arodys Vizcaíno is in his third straight game and his 4th over the last 5 days. He was in 3 of the games against the Reds. Not a safe situation.
And he'll face Kelly Johnson, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. Kelly's had a quiet night at the plate, but quiet's a word that Terry Collins used with Kelly Johnson when he walked into the locker room as a member of the Mets for a second time. This one's hit in the air towards center, pretty deep, but playable for Inciarte. Things weren't going well for the Mets offensively. There was, I don't want to say the term panic, but certainly everybody here was alarmed at how poorly their team was swinging the bats. And he said Kelly stepped right in and was the perfect guy at the perfect time to help get things stabilized for this New York clubhouse.
And I'm sure got everybody to relax.
So Kelly's 0 for 3. Here's James Loney. He had a base hit in the 7th and didn't get that. He did get a piece of AJ, though. No balls, hit a strike. Both Brian Snitker and Terry Collins have used 4 relief pitchers tonight. Withrow, Cervenka, Johnson, now Vizcaíno for the Braves, Bastardo, Goodell, Blevins, and Robles for New York.
Remember Alvin Davis?
Yes.
And what a good player he was for the Mariners for so many years. Loney reminds me of him. You know, they both go about their business kind of a quiet way. Don't draw a lot of attention to themselves, but they're good players. Alvin Davis for years was overshadowed by Ken Griffey Jr. and Edgar Martinez, but he kept putting up year after year big numbers.
Well, Loney's getting an extended amount of playing time with the Mets because Lucas Duda is hurt. Well, that's a shame too. We've talked about it a lot with other players like Christian Yelich. Good young players that have back problems. That's a big red flag and really a shame. Hope that Duda will be able to recover fully. As Plawecki is in there and takes a strike. He's walked twice, struck out once. Pretty pitch, and Plawecki took it. It's 1-2. Marlins did win tonight. They held off Colorado. 5-1 was the final score. The Phillies lost 10-2. Washington plays in San Diego. They start any minute. Braves are 2 outs away from winning their second game of the year against the Mets. And the 2-2 is high. Otis wants a new baseball. Mentioned earlier, too many walks from Braves relief corps.
Well, that was one thing that stood out about Jim Johnson's inning. He gave up 3 hits, but no runs. Thankfully, he had a double play, and that certainly helped. But he didn't walk anybody to compound the problem. He was throwing strikes, making them put it in play, and they happened to get 3 knocks.
Broken bat roller towards short. Ibar's got it. Hill fired a second for 1, and not in time at first. Sliding in hard was Loney.
They're going to call them both out. Game over.
Wow, they're going to say Loney had an illegal slide, and that's going to end the game. The second base umpire, Marty Foster, signaled Loney did not adhere to the slide rule, and he's going to call out Plawecki on a game-ending double play.
Take a look at it and see what happened.
And that push right there. And it wasn't Marty Foster, it was Mark Wegner.
Well, help me out here, Chip, because he hit the ground before he made contact. Well, you just saw there he threw a forearm. That was his thing.
Yep.
Because he hit the ground before he made contact. He held the base. But when he threw the forearm, that ended the game. Totals and highlights.
Right after this.
Right
Here's
after
a better angle. Watch right there, the left arm. And that's going to end the ball game. Braves take care of the New York Mets. It's the first big league win for young right-hander John Gant, as Loney, with a forearm shiver to the right leg of Jace Peterson, is called out for a violation of the new slide rules. Braves win game 1. Final score 5-1. Crowd unhappy in New York, but Braves get the road trip off to a great start.